If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know that every single day, the tangible pieces of our childhood disappears forever. Everything gets old, everything breaks. There's less and less of it out there every single day. So it is that time once again to hit the road and see what we can save, or at least document, in another retro thrifting video. Let's go! Of course, the first place I gotta hit up is Savers. I've been having a lot of good luck here lately, so we'll see. Right off the bat, I found some electronics. This camcorder I had back in the day. I want to say it was not the first camcorder that my family owned, but for sure the first camcorder that I probably bought with my own money. I got a lot of mileage out of that bad boy. And this was cool. I've seen these around. They are old digital cameras that actually used a floppy disk as a memory card. And we actually had one at my old work, and I was tempted to get one. We got an old Light Bright in the box. And this bad boy takes me back. I gotta stop saying bad boy. But yeah, there's so many memories. I remember playing with the Light Bright, man, in our old house. So I was probably like 3 years old. And check this out. An old, I don't know if it's a police radio or just a CB. Breaker 19, we got a 187. But yeah, that's cool to see. And then I'm looking around, and what to my wondering eyes should appear but another floppy disk digital camera. Well, he can't be, that's like a far away from home type situation, a Milo and Otis situation. We'll put that back, reunited with his family, thank God. And then there's a lot of like fun old video stuff, photography stuff. This is the little old camera, and I noticed that it looked like it had the film inside the camera still. And sure enough, I'd love to get this developed. I'm not gonna spend. I mean, I just ruined that picture, but who knows what could be on that old roll of film that's probably, I don't know when that's from, the 70s maybe? Oh, you know what? I had somebody, a friend of mine owned a briefcase like this. What was their name? Swanson? Samsonite. That's right. I was way off. That was a joke. Because I'm an idiot. What else do we find here? Oh yeah, the TI 99? I looked this up. There's a ton of stuff that this is missing. It was just this core unit. And surprisingly, when I looked it up on eBay, you could get like it with all of its stuff for pretty cheap. So I didn't pick it up, but it was really shocking to see out in the wild. And here we go, a copy of Microsoft Office 97, which is just so neat to see, but then it is sealed. It is untouched by all these years, by the decades that separated us from its manufacture date. And then, of course, you've got a VHS Rewinder. These guys go through like peaks and valleys, and sometimes I won't see them for a long time. And then all of a sudden now I've been seeing them everywhere. And this is a nice, I was tempted, I guess, if it wasn't so dirty. But that was it for Savers, so now, of course, it's on to the Goodwill. Some cool stuff to see at Savers, but not really a whole lot to take home. There is so much in the toy aisle, or not the toy aisle, but the games aisle. Look at this. Once again, the VHS gods have shined on me, and we've got a VCR Star Trek board game. The VCR board game collection is definitely growing by leaps and bounds. And then, of course, I see the DuckTales logo. I gotta check it out. It's just an old little kid's jigsaw puzzle from the 80s, but I love DuckTales. And then, oh yes, another little handheld, not a Tiger handheld, but a handheld nonetheless, from Radio Shack. This is a 2-player baseball game. It's actually got buttons on one side that control the pitching, and then buttons on the other side that control the batting, which I thought was really cool. And look at this, it even still loads up right in the store. Still had a little bit of juice in those batteries. And then the only reason I show this little black and white TV is this was something that I owned back in the day, or I guess my family owned, and I hogged it for the most part. It's so sad to me that these things just don't really have any practical use anymore. And then of course you've got a ton of VHS tapes, nothing really exciting, lots of normal stuff, but who'd you call not interesting? That's right, Chuck Norris! How often do you see Canon VHS tapes at the Goodwill? For me, it's not very often. We got Missing in Action 2. I was very, very excited to see it and pick it up. And, what's this? Maybe I'll just pick up this for research purposes. I'm not going to work out to it, but it'll definitely help my cardio, if you understand what I'm saying. And then, of course, now movie soundtracks on cassette tape seems to have turned into a thing I collect. So I found Down and Out in Beverly Hills, which I remember the movie existing. I don't remember the movie at all, but it had a lot of fun songs on the soundtrack, some Gary Newman, some Little Richard. I picked it up. And then I saw this weird little thing. It just says play, record, stop. Nothing super complicated. But then you turn it over, Whole House VCR controller. So as far as I can tell, you could tell your VCR to play or record from somewhere else in the house. I don't know why you would need that. And then I guess it is a CB kind of a day because I found another CB radio. This one from JCPenney's. This one, I guess they both actually felt really like solid units, but this one kind of was a little bit more of a beast. And then of course, where there's one beast, there's others. And look at this beautiful, beautiful boombox. I am just in love with this kind of stuff, and I've been finding some good ones lately. This one's just exactly what you're looking for. And then, strolling down memory lane, I spot the Snoopy Sno-Cone maker. I don't know, I feel like maybe this is a Midwest thing, but man, I think everybody my age had this growing up or has memories of it growing up. I think this is not original. I think this was actually like a recreation, a reissue from recent times, but still really cool to see. And then I love these kinds of old viewers, a Super 8 Dual Master viewer. This is for viewing 8mm film. And I'm looking through the box and I see film. These are potentially home movies. So it was too hard to film, but I took this guy out of the box, plugged it in, and it was all in seemingly working order. So the fact that it's working, it has all its parts, and that it has somebody's 8mm home movies with it, it was too good to pass up. And I thought, as a bonus, let's take her for a spin around the block for you on camera so you can see how it works, how it's set up, and maybe see some weird old home movies that nobody's ever seen before. So here we go. It's got these arms that come out of the sides. It compacts itself to sort of a storable size. Comes with this reel. This is the reel that your home movies will feed onto, because a reel of film has to have somewhere to go. So you get that hooked up. Beautiful. Then you take your home movies out. Here we got a Super 8 movie film. And for those of you who don't know, this is what everybody's home movies were on for decades before VHS really stepped in. So you get this guy on. Yeah, it's crazy to think. I've been kind of looking up film again. And, 8mm and Super 8 was really, really used for, like, from the 50s into the 80s, like well into the 80s before VHS really, really, really took over. So obviously here you feed it through the lens, you've got the lamp, and it will, obviously it's a similar setup to a projector, Here we go. Except instead of projecting it onto a screen, it's got just this little viewer, which is a really slick little guy. Unfortunately, the only real problem with a setup like this is that you're hand cranking it, so controlling the speed and just the ability to sit back and enjoy the video without having to also have part of your brain, cranking the film is really the only drawback to a little setup like this. But it is just so incredibly neat. And who knows who these people are? Who knows where this is? There is a part coming up here where you can see a license plate, and it is a Minnesota license plate. So who knows? Probably the late 70s, maybe the early 80s. But who knows who these people are and where they are now. I'm kind of obsessed with this kind of stuff. Like, finding people's home movies is like a weird obsession for me. So thank you, everybody, so much. We'll just watch this as I outro here. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. As always, if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I will catch all you cool cats and you dirty dogs on the flip side. Bye-bye.